Welcome back to Creative Perspectives. I'm Brandy. Thank you for joining me. Today's topic is going to be on a calculated airstrike, and it's going to go along with my series of breaking through barriers. So in this, I will start off with my Bible verse first. Okay, so I'm going to get ahead of myself. Okay, my Bible verse that I chose for this, taping is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 7. Okay, let's get started. God will defeat your enemies who attack you. They'll come at you on one road and run away on 7 roads. I like that, Okay, so let's get started. So when we're talking about calculating airstrikes, right? Sometimes people don't come into your life just to strike you. They don't strike right away. Some people get to know you, try to get into your comfort zone, try to get you to loosen up so they could get to know a lot about you before they strike. It's kind of like a game of chess, You look at your side of the board, and then the person you encounter is looking on their side of the board, and then they're calculating how to take one of your men off the board. Life is the same, depending on who. Not everybody is out to take from people, so thank God for the great people like me and a lot of other people I know who we're just about uplifting and just making everybody shine bright and bringing life into life, but not everybody is that way. So, and some people are trying to find their way to have those emotional feelings, to be able to feel free, and out there instead of being bogged down with a lot of barriers. So like I said, this is going along with breaking through barriers. Now, mind you, I'm not a pastor, so that's why you see me pull out a scripture. Because I'd rather see you go to church, where the pastor, I know they prepare for their speeches, but still, where they're like, here, and then they bring it all together, and it's beautiful, But for me, no, I'm not that pastor. So, God bless their job, kiss their brains, kiss their spirits, their souls, their minds, and their physical, their physical self, just, that's not me. So anyway, let's get started. So anyway, typically your enemies, and this is how you identify it, and this has been my life experiences, whether it's been dating or having different types of people in my life that I had to get rid of, or in the ones that stay are my genuine people that I feel like they have my back. They will give me constructive criticism. They're unbiased, and open-minded and mature, because maturity goes a very long way. And they've been through some things, so they could talk to me from their perspective and give me a helping hand, if I need it. And I'm hoping I could do the same for them. But anyway, you just need some, open-minded, well-versed, seasoned folks, have traveled, they've been around the world, so they just don't have it from one region of information. They have a robust amount of information that they could bring to the table to help you. So that's why I like people who travel, hey, travel, what's your experience? What are the people like? What is the place like that you visited? It's all good, in my book. So anyway, one thing I noticed is that, some people like to play in your face. Thinking they're getting away with it depending on your personality type. I've met women where they're like vicious, and they're out there as soon as you do something, they are responding to you. But I'm just not that type of person. So me, because you could tell I play a lot. So the same way I play in person is the same thing that goes on in my head. Just sometimes I might not say anything. So I don't call people out on every little tiny thing that they do. It's just that I take, notes, and then I have to start treating them accordingly, or possibly getting them out of my space altogether. But through my experience, which I'm hoping that will help you in your experience, or help you overcome something, help you learn something, help you just, share the experience that you've had, to where we may have had like a similar experience, But anyway, so some people just like to play in your face because they're calculating their airstrike. A lot of times, especially like I hear this term all the time, and I have used it, where you have people who are narcissistic, or extremely selfish, self-serving. It's all about the I team. It's never a team, and I've been married to that. So I became very familiar through counseling at a lot of different things, because I got married so young, and then it took, a portion of my life, and then then the second time married again. So it's like, so you gotta learn in life. That's how you get wiser, make better choices, know what to look for. Because just know what to look for. Because I had loving parents. So it's like, if you have loving parents, you're going off of what they show you. But when you get out into the real world, that's not, the whole, that's not, the world is different maybe than what you were used to when you grew up. And, not saying that we have a perfect house, but, everybody has something going on in their home. But it was, a loving home overall, and a helpful, supportive home. But anyway, let's get started. So my first point is, how to minimize people playing in your face when it comes to your enemy calculating their strike in your life. They're trying to take that chess piece off the board and knock that stuff off, honey. So you got to be prepared, or just know what to look for, so that you can keep people like that at a distance altogether. So then you could just, open yourself up to people who are genuinely going to be good in your life, and look out. They'll have your back. They'll be supportive. They're on the same wavelength as you. They're not trying to compete. They're not having the jealousy issue. They're not trying to learn you to destroy you. But anyway, let's get started. So the first thing that I noticed, in my life experience, and if you've experienced it too, I like you already. So if you haven't, try not to. But the first thing they do is they want to love bomb you, or get in your face all the time, take up all your time, and just make it seem like they're just there for you overly. Now, when you really look at the situation, that's not healthy. That's not healthy at all, because it takes time to get to know someone. So if somebody's up there trying to impulsively, love, and that's flag number one. A different flag that I've learned too is they ask a lot of personal questions too soon. And then there's an attitude when they can't have access to your information. And then you have to look at, well, why do you particularly need to know that? Like, for instance, I was talking to a guy, and we start dating, and then he started opening up, just get more comfortable. And it doesn't mean that if they don't bum rush you, that they're not equally sneaky. Just remember, there's different avenues of approach for an airstrike. They don't just go in and bomb the place. Sometimes, you got two planes, and one's going this way and the one's going that way, or they might hit you from the rear, and then bam, and then the whole place is smoked out. So, so some people are just sneakier than other individuals, and some people feel like their charm is just going to overwhelm you so much to where you're going to be like, what is that? It's a Disney movie. Maleficent, where he comes in and she's just like, oh. And then it's like, it's time to get married, So some people come in like that, where they come in love bombing, all hot and heavy. And then you have those where they're just kind of quiet. They play the quiet game, where they're just kind of, trying to get you comfortable before they start learning about you. And then they might be vindictive, or, doing things behind your back. And not, so you feel safe and, in front of the face, but then they could be sabotaging something in your life, and you have no idea, because that's their jealousy coming out. So, and I've experienced that too. I've experienced both, where but I learned by being married, to a narcissistic sociopath, that, or being in a relationship with one, that all the tricks of the trade when I went to get counseling. So I'm appreciative of counseling because they can make you so much more aware of things that you didn't see before, and that's a preventative measure of making sure your likelihood of going through that is minimized down to zero. So one thing that I look at is the way a person comes into your space. If they're trying to flood you, if they're trying to find so much out about you too fast, too soon, that's, I would discount that, because nobody is that interesting, Now, if you guys have known each other for a while, that's different. They're like, I ain't seen you in a while. Hey, girl, that's different. But that still could be an issue too sometimes. So just being careful of somebody that just comes in and bum rush that love. I love you, girl. There's no way you could love me. I could be a terrorist. You know what I'm saying? There's no way to do that, or know that about my character or my personality to know that's what you want, It takes time to get to know someone. Two, is they can also be quiet and play the quiet game, like, oh yeah, I'm just relaxed and I'm just, and they're the same way. I had one guy, wasn't even, never dated. And then I get cussed out. Like, I've been waiting on you. I'm like, what? I'm so glad I wasn't in that. I never got into a relationship with that person because, you have to make sure, for one, that you're on the same sheet of music. If you're planning to date or, just partner with someone or just have a friendship or just keep them as an associate, then you still have to be on the same page. But getting back to what I was saying, too much too soon, red flag. Trying to be in your space way too much and you don't really know the person, red flag. When you listen, into how they talk about other people, so if it's always everybody else's fault, red flag, because that means that person cannot take accountability for their actions. That means you're going to have issues when an issue come up at all. There will probably be zero respect for how you feel and what you think, because they'll flip it on themselves and victimize themselves when you're trying to talk about what you need, what you need to get out. And it doesn't matter if you follow the steps. I've taken so many communication classes, marriage classes, in college, and it really, if you're prepared and you learn, you learn about it through school or whatever, it doesn't mean that the person you're dealing with has the same idea or knowledge, or that they're prepared or they're mature enough to even be in the same ring as you, so you have to look at that from that person as well. So you can even do the we thing, where it's like, and trust me, I've done this in relationships where you don't point fingers at the person, because then it could feel like a threat. If you say, well, you did this, blah, blah, blah. Nope, just say, well, we, and, make it team oriented. And then if the person looks like they're willing to work with you and understand where you're coming from, then that's a great step right there. But if they're opposite and they're not trying at all to understand you, they're impatient towards you, trust me, you are not going to be important, and you're not important in their life under any circumstances. So do not even take that as a chance. Don't take a chance on that. So anyway, so that's they're preparing for that airstrike. If I can get this person to keep entertaining me, and I could act this way, act like I don't care about their feelings and stuff. And then you have people that just play games just because they're, they have some insecurities that they need to address. So they're trying to place their insecurities on you, like invoke their stuff on you, and try to make you feel insecure or uncertain about yourself. And that's why you got to be careful when we're talking about breaking past barriers. You have tricksters that try to come in there while you solving other issues to further throw you off your path in life, and you got to be careful with that too, because you want the right people. You don't want anybody. And that's why people get mad at me. They're like, well, you got to let somebody in sometimes, and you got to do this. And if you got to tell me that means your agenda in my life is not good and it's not pretty. So I like people who come at you the right way, whether it's friendship or anything. Like, you know, if somebody blowing up your phone, you barely know them, that's a red flag for needy, clingy, oh my God, stay back, you know. That's like, that's too much, you know. Also, they want you to disclose a lot of your business, why they give you minimal amount of details about their life, you know. And then sometimes even if they give you all the details, you still have to be careful, you know, about what you're disclosing and how you choose to disclose, you know, your information, because some people try to weaponize it, you know, to some degree, or they try to find a way of, okay, this is how I can injure this person, or this is my avenue of approach, you know. They try to play games, because I remember there was, okay, so I was dating this one guy, and then he tried to put himself in a position where he couldn't pay. So we went out. It's just a date, you know, but this is just showing character in people up front, you know. So we go to just look at the movie, and he's like, because some people pretend like they're prepared, you know, to date, and they got themselves together. Well, I guess this put him to the test, you know. And this is just like a dating thing. So we go out, and you know, I'm looking at the board of the movies, you know, he's asking, what do you want to watch, you know, stuff like that. So I picked my movie, you know, and so when it was time to pay, he stood back. So when he stood back, I looked over and I was like, you know, because I don't mind paying. It just depends on what the conversation is like and then how it's structured. And it's definitely not a first, second, or third date. When I like to, you know, I believe, and I'm not trying to be sexist, but, you know, I was raised a little old school to where the man courts and the man is the provider. But you could still contribute as well. You know, it's not all on him, you know, but it's like, you know, let him take you out about 3 dates, and then you could, you know, depending on the energy that's there, then you could volunteer to, you know, take him out, you know. But he came in wrong. So anyway, I just looked at him and I was like, pretty much, you need to get this. And then, you know, he went up, he put his card in, but just the simple fact that I had to say anything was a turnoff. So that was obviously the beginning, the middle, and the end of that. And then he tried to call back, and I was like, I just talked to him, and I just said, I don't like anybody that plays games. And then, you know, starting off that way is not, you know, cool. You know, if you wanted to come out as friends, we could have had that discussion. I could pay for my portion, you could pay for yours, but I don't entertain friends, because that's not what I'm trying to look for. I'm looking for something more along the lines of where I see my life going in the future. You know, although I like to take stuff slow. So I terminated that. And that's the power of healing and learning in life. You know, before I would say nothing, and I would just like I gave the scenario of, you know, this, my personality type. Like if I get cheated on, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's scenario based, you know. But, you know, I just pick up my stuff, pack it up, and walk out. And then my phone, you'll never hear from me again, because it's like, I forgive you, but you already shown me your cards. The cards that you're showing me is not the principles I like to live from and live off of. So I gotta go, you know. So that's how I'm structured. I'm not structured to be able to stay in a situation, although I could forgive a situation. So anyway, and I could wish well and pray over the person and all that, but just know everybody's different. Some people that can do it, some people cannot do it. And I'm one of those who can't, you know, and I won't, you know. So that's just an example of just something that they bring in. You know, how are they coming in off the top? How are they talking to people? You know, I had another instance where I was sitting there with a guy, and then he was rude to a nice waitress. So I'm like, you know, that I cut that short, and then that was the end of it. So the way they treat others, you really have to pay attention. And the way they brag about treating others, you also have to pay attention. Because there was a relationship I took, you know, got into, you know, and I won't say if I was married or not, but it was one person that did a lot. But I had red flags. But because I was so naive, you know, I was married, you know, my first time, then I got divorced while I was in Iraq. And then, you know, And then I came back, with the war stuff, and then I ended up meeting the second individual that I spent a lot of time with. But I did go out and I did date before I got committed into that relationship. But I had red flags. But as a Christian, you're like, oh, people could get better and stuff like that, and just being naive, because I got married when I was like 19, so it's like, what kind of experience do you really get out of life? Getting married that young. So that's why once I went through this situation with this, this second person relationship, long term, then I was like, okay, let's make sure this don't happen again, because this was way robust. It was too much, but there was red flags. Similarly, like where there was love bombing, always in my space, calling every single day, seeing how I'm doing, coming up to my job, just the Mr. Wonderful, perfect, just like, let's lay it all out, I'm just showing you, and talking all the time. So flooding your space every day, to where in your own head, if you're naive about it, you think it's a beautiful thing. But when people are really secure in themselves, they do not push that hard. They just kind of like, okay, we're going to talk and we'll see how it goes, and that's what growth is about, is you learn from your mistakes and then you don't make them again. Don't make them again. So I'm a big fan of that. Learn once and then that's it. And trust me, I've had I talked about sexual assault and then actual rape when I was 17, and then again later in life when I was 2018. Now I'm 41, about to be 42, years old. I know I look extremely young, but so I've learned. So and I'm hoping that people learn, get the red flags that will save you, your energy, your peace, your balance, in life. It would keep you smiling every day, and all of that. And then another thing too. Okay, well, let's get back to what we're supposed to be talking about. So people who play in your face, and then also calculated airstrike, a person that plays in your face, a person that is coming in too strong, too hard, a person that's trying to tell you what you want. Like, I remember I went out on a date after I got divorced from the second person, and it was a person that was familiar with me from work. And it wasn't a real date. It was just like, when people find out you're divorced, they just want to link up, and just, go out and just talk, So I went out, talked. First, the dude was late. So, and then after he was late, he was always trying to see if he could help me at my house. And so I'm not a big fan of having a man come into my house as a single person anyway, period. Period. It's like we can meet in public. And then now if I know the person, I know that, they're safe, obviously, through my experience. And, then, and they're not like that, then that's, that could work. And I have had a person I knew, and it was all good, but if they're trying to come to your place, these are different airstrikes, calculated airstrikes, like I'm trying to get in your space. Anybody could get in your space, and then that's an airstrike, because learning about people and getting to know someone who is genuinely going to be in your life, it's okay for them to take it slow and go slow instead of like trying to play games to make you chase, because I had that and I don't chase anybody. So it's like, if I contact you, and this should be like this, if somebody's contacting you, it should be a mutual exchange. It should be equal reciprocity. It shouldn't be unequal, so, and then if they're not contacting you, just let it go. And then if they choose to, play the hello, just, then I just kind of let it go, and you have to learn when people really are there to get to know you, they will be there to get to know you. And it won't feel weird, it won't send up red flags in your intuition, and then they're comfortable, and then they're not trying to push their way into your life under any circumstances. They go extremely slow, they take it, it's like a natural flow. And then you have some people where they just want to be in your face because of how you look, and then that's the beginning of the end, and just the access, and you got to be careful with them too, because they're not there for your highest good. So you have to be able to let them go as well, because that's like an airstrike, waiting to happen. They're in your space. Well, why do you need to be in my space? You're not contributing anything in my life. And you got to look at people that way. What are they contributing to you? Is it equal, give and take? Is it slow or is it rushed? Are they playing mind games? And mind games could be something that's like, if you call, then they try to delay and play all these stupid games, or they could just try to throw it on you as a way to say, well, I didn't contact you because because naturally, if somebody wants to contact you, they will. So there is no such thing as, well, it was you. No, if they're not contacting you, they're not contacting you, and that just means that they're not interested, and that's okay. And there's billions of people, and you just got to move on. And then you have some where they're pretty good, but this is about airstriking individuals, not the good people that come into your life. Another thing is criticizing. They start coming in nitpicking, telling you how they like. Oh, I like my woman this and this and this, and it's like, no, that's control. That's airstrike coming in. You let people be individuals, be who they want to be who they're trying to be, because you don't want anybody trying to control you, telling you what color underwear to wear, or what to wear, or how they want your hair cut, and how they, what I'm saying, or vice versa. How you need your hair done and makeup and all this other stuff. No, that's control. And that's insecurity as well. Because if you got to control something, I've said this before, what fun is that? If I could control you like a toy and make you stay on my strings, and I could treat you like a puppet through criticism, then how's that helping you? That's not helping you. That's destroying you. You don't need to be nobody's puppet. You need to be your own individual self, who is on your life path to discover and uncover who you want to be. Not a puppet. So don't become one. Airstrike. I'll be having fun and stuff. So anyway, so that's the control. That's airstrike. To me, a real man is a man who they're secure in who they are. And you don't have to be pretty. One thing I hate, because I've been told this, like a guy said, I don't feel like I'm handsome enough. Boom, 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 boom. I was like, look, half of the women, this is what I told him, half of the women have gone through, and men have gone through a lot. To where it looks, honey, we passed the look stage, honey. We looking for the real thing, like somebody who's going to be supportive, somebody who has a good head on their shoulders, somebody who has their own mind, someone who is living in their life's purpose or on their way to searching for that life purpose, somebody who actually loves women, because some people hate women because of stuff that happened in their childhood. So they're up there trying to knock the what do you call it? They're trying to knock the person that they're with as if that's their mom that they just wanted to hit a long time ago because of choices she made. And you don't want nobody like that either. You need people that are healed. So I was telling him, look, I ain't looking for somebody that's what's his name? Somebody that's sexy and beautiful. Come on. What's his name? I used to be all, ooh. Mr. Shamar Moore, honey. And then there was one more. Oh my gosh. I used to be on. Okay. There, more actors come out, so it's kind of hard to keep up. But The Rock, when back in the day, so we ain't looking for that. Honey, we looking for a man that could, rub your feet, be nice and kind to you, and genuinely have your back with no agenda sitting behind that. Absolutely no agendas. And we're not looking for the one, like a lot of men have this old school thinking that they have to have billions of dollars. A woman that's pretty will not accept them. If you come in with those insecurities, airstrike. And it's called self-sabotage. Come in as you are. Let the person see you for who you are. And you might be amazed. They might pick you, sweetheart. Sweetheart. And if you look around this world at all the different couples, not everybody's walking around looking like the Holly Berries of the world or the Denzels and the, you know what I'm talking about. So, just, man, just be who you are and know you're lovable and allow yourself to be loved and be open to it. And sometimes you got to clear a lot of stuff out to get that way and to have that openness, So, I mean, anyway, I had a talk with him and I was like, I told him I should slap you in the face right now. So you see my violent streak comes out, So anyway, but I just told him, no, why would you ever think that? I think you're like the most handsome person in the world. And then what makes you handsome is the whole thing, the mind, the level, your intentions, are shown, your actions, the way you handle people. And people are looking for that goodness, all over. I mean, there's more, there's more single women than there is men. And the men who are single, we need y'all to step up, period. And stop with all the, I have to be this, or I have to be that, or I got to be this, or I got to be that. No, sweetheart, just get your goals, be on that path, open up. And if you like somebody, be open and honest about it. Just don't come in with the domination spirit, because that's airstrike. Girl, I want to control you. Let me isolate you. Ooh, that's airstrike again. Isolation. Anybody that's trying to get you, and the way someone is trying to isolate you is by, guess what they do? The first thing, nitpick. You've had long-term friends that's had your back, real back. Now, some people do have some hating friends that they think are friends, so somebody might be able to see something you didn't see. But if your friends make you a better version of yourself, you already know they're keepers. If you could call them up, cry, and then they trying to uplift your spirits and get you out there to get back on your goal and back on your journey in life, and to get you to find your purpose, and they support that, you don't get rid of them people at all, because we all need that in our lives. But a person who's trying to give you the airstrike, boom, 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 and drop them bombs on you, that's the person where they want to talk, get to know you, find your weak spots, and then they're going to start attacking everybody around you to isolate you. And I've seen that happen strategically, not through me, but I'm too strong for that, but through people, I don't like to say names, and it's hard, because it's like, but where they do that, they start nitpicking this person, and then now you're calling that person and hanging out with that person less. So you can't let people control your mind, because that's what that is. Isolation, they got to get to your mind, sweetheart. And I don't know the Bible verse, but I'm quite sure somebody can go find it. But if the devil has your mind, he has you, period. So an airstriking individual is one coming up with the spirit of isolation and abuse. Let me start nitpicking everybody you're around so I can have you all to myself. Ooh. And it's not the cuddly kind of all to myself. It's like something that will terrorize you. So look out for that. Isolation. Don't do it. If they start talking about your friend, say, I like my friend, she's staying here. She's been through thick and thin, not going anywhere. Sometimes you get rid of them quickly, because you got to remember, as soon as you see some red flags, aka airstrikes, or airstriking behaviors, you got to get that person gone. Because I could tell you, I suffered a lot from one person, doing all this stuff, and it was like a cycle that they never wanted to stop. Because it's just, they wanted the control, and then they lost all the control, and then it's like, now that they lost the control, now I'm about to go out there and start sabotaging, telling people you done did this to me and that. No, nobody's done nothing to you, sweetheart. You did everything to yourself, and you went, the grass wasn't greener over there, and you can't come back because of the experiences that you brought over here. And that's the beginning, the middle, and the end. So it's the same thing. People try to isolate. And then after they isolate you, like say if you have a career, oh, I want you to stay home, I miss you, boo-boo. Honey, get over that. Today, we in America where people could lose stuff quickly. You need money, period. So make your own money. And there are some couples, because I was a stay-at-home wife at some point, not the whole way through. But once I had my son, you know, the beginning is hard for every parent. That's different. But if you're at a stage where you already know your spouse got your back, you ain't got to worry about nothing. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody has your back, you don't have to worry about all that. But if you're in a situation where somebody has a lot more than you have, and then they're trying to, you know, pick everybody apart and take them out of your life and convince you that they don't belong there, when these people are the same people that's been there, then that's an airstrike, sweetheart. You got to get rid of that. You got to get rid of that, and don't isolate yourself. Get out there, make sure, even though you have a relationship or a situationship or what do you call it? Friendship, that you are still communicating with people that you know love you, got your back. Do not separate yourself, you know, from people who actually have been there for you. Keep them in your life on a constant basis, because life will still come, you know. And like I said, God made it magical. On one end, you have bad things, and on the other end, you have some really good things. And then you got the center, the gray area in life. So, you know, don't be isolated, and don't let nobody think and try to start controlling your mind and thinking it's sexy. No. Now, if you got a good man, you know he's going to take care of you, and he's been that way even after you may have, you know, had children with him. And I don't want to say that either, because some people, they gradually, after you have kids, slowly start going left. So, but you'll know. I think you'll know. You'll know when somebody has the love of God in them, and they are there for the right reasons, and they're there to support you. But like, let's say if it's the airstriking individual, it's isolation first, then let's quit your job. And then, you know, some people might even suggest you move into a place that's way out there where nobody can really deal with you. And all of that is airstriking, insecurity, self-serving behaviors, narcissism, and somebody who wants total control over your life. Don't do it. You know, make your money and grow. Go to school if you need to. Continue your life and continue to build your life. Don't stop. You know, if you're a mom, I mean, look, they have so many courses and school, I mean, online schooling that you could take, even if you take one thing at a time. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, fast is sloppy. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, fast is sloppy. So go slow to keep growing. So if you're going to be a stay-at-home mom, you know, you could be going to school, you know, taking care of the babies, and then get one class at a time, so you can still be working towards something. Because say if that person do start going left, and you see those little red flags, they start staying out late, talking to you differently, acting crazy, you know, and the person you thought you knew, now the real person's coming out, you know. Airstrike. Boom. That's the power of having a boy child. Like when he was little. So anyway, just ensuring you see those signs. So somebody that's constantly in your face, wants to know all your business, and it doesn't matter if it's based on friendship, relationship, dating. It doesn't matter. Anybody that's like that, somebody who's overreaching already, and then that states that they overreach. You know, because I had a situation where I couldn't get in touch with somebody I knew and I liked. And they said they were going into the hospital. I didn't hear from them, and it sounded pretty serious. So because my phone was acting up, I asked them, could they call? So they kept the person's number months and months later. So then when me and that person had it out, not in a bad way, but just, you know, in a certain way, then they decided to call. Now I'm like, what you doing calling somebody that I know that you never met? So that's overreaching. You know, that is a red flag, because you don't need people solving your issues, being in your business, or trying to insert themselves in your business ever. That's a red flag. That's an airstrike. You know, trying to infiltrate your life, you know, in every way. And then you also have to be careful of people who want, you know, to know everything about about your money, your finances. You know, you gotta be careful, because real people don't run around here. I've never seen a millionaire ask another millionaire, you know, oh, so what you got in your stuff? That's none of their business. That's a user or opportunist trying to come your way. So you gotta be careful. Opportunists, they're more interested in your finances than you, sweetheart. And they're always gonna try to bring up your money. It's none of their business. If they're not making the money, it is none of their business on how you spend your money and what you're doing with your money. Tell them to stay in their lane. Be worried about how they're making their money, you know, what they're doing with their money. And no, you can't ask, you know, me for my money, you know. So, and I remember there was one guy, he tried to sneak it in. Like, oh, I just made less, and I was like, and I stopped him there. I was like, let me tell you something. The only place my money goes towards is my son. I do not take care of a grown man. Anybody over the age of 18, they're grown. You have to figure it out, just like everybody else. So you're not a child, you're not a baby, you know, you're not on your mom's tit anymore, you know, you're not taking Similac, so no. If you have financial issues, especially up front, you know, if you've only been with them 1 or 2 weeks, 3, and then they start bringing up any form of money or trying to test you in that way, then airstrike, get rid of them quickly. You know, you're going to be some characters out here, sweetheart. Don't let nobody do that to you. Now, if you know people, you know who they are, you know, then that's different in helping. But when it's somebody that's trying to use you, you need to recognize that and then stop it in its tracks. And if they choose not to talk to you again, you got your answer, sweetheart. They were there not for you, not to build with you, and not to really support you. So you want in your life people who are supportive, period. You know, and the way to get that is they're not all in your business like that. They slowly build into your business. And then y'all, it's equal reciprocity about your business. And by that time, you should be in a committed relationship. But if they're starting all hot and heavy up front, trying to love bomb, come in here, act like they're Mr. Right and Prince Charming, watch it. You know? I've been through that. I paid a heavy price for that. And it wasn't God. I'm not going to put that on God, God's choice and all. Sweetheart. That was me seeing the red flags in my own head. Oh, people can be so nice. No, you leave people where they are. You let God work on that. You just need to see the signs and separate. As soon as you see something that is not right, or as soon as you feel something that is not right about that individual. Okay? Because your main thing is everybody's flawed, though. But you want people to come at you with the right intentions for your life. And that's what these airstriking individuals, you got to get rid of them. Because they're not there for the right reasons and the right purposes. They're not there. You got to make sure the people coming into your life are there to build with you. And they are there to learn about you in a way that's going to help them become, or just learn. And you'll feel the difference. When somebody sincerely wants to get to know you, there is a huge difference than if somebody's trying to come in and try to gather all this information and, you know, go quick and all that. No, you know, absolutely not. So be careful of these airstrike sweethearts. You beautiful and you handsome devils and princesses and Christians, whatever, you know, or non-Christians, whatever. But anyway, I believe I covered enough, you know, so coming in too soon, hot, heavy, asking personal questions that is pretty much none of their business. The way that you can help protect yourself is think of it this way. When I'm going through trials and tribulations, who's there for me? Okay, so if the person's never been there for you, they haven't earned the right to be in your business or ask you anything. And you owe no one any explanations for anything, even when they come in. And then if they get mad, they are telling you they're not there for the right reasons. Because they're trying to seek something for themselves. They're trying to be self-serving. They're not trying to be there for you. Period. You know, so you got to be very, very careful. And then if you are living in your life purpose, you definitely have to be even more careful, because now people are going to come to you with business opportunities, and you got to be careful with them contracts, sweetheart. You know, some people are there to take too. So airstrike, read, get it right, be careful. So anyway, the last one that I didn't touch on is criticism, the way they are constantly criticizing you. I did talk about it, talked about, trying to talk about your hair, the controlling factor, airstrike, but criticism, it's how they're trying to criticize you. Sometimes they want to know what you're insecure about, and then that's what they want to mention little tiny things that will get bigger later. Think of it that way. If it's something they won't say to a stranger at work, or their boss at work, where they could get fired, they shouldn't be talking to you like that, or criticizing you that way. But if they feel comfortable doing it, form of disrespect, airstrike coming, airstrike, because all they're going to do is start nitpicking every single last detail about you to make you feel less than what you really are. Airstrike. So you got to be careful. Don't let anybody come in there and start tearing down your confidence with their little, well, why do you do this? Why do you do that? It's none of their business. Tell them, well, you have your own walk, right? So you walk the way you want to walk. I walk the way I want to walk. And you keep it that way, and now mess them up, and they'll leave you alone, sweetheart. If you want to wear something, you wear it. Just little things. People can be different, especially if they can make it a little further. If you didn't catch the first red flags, then they take you into the next phase, and then that's when they start doing more mouth, like criticism. So you got to be very, very cautious about that, because that's the beginning of trying to tear you down. You don't want anybody in your life that's not going to uplift you and make you feel better than the day before. Okay? You want somebody that's supportive, that's going to really show you. And it takes time to get to know that. Once I was divorced, I was on my own for 3 years. You know what I'm saying? And that's celibacy and everything. And then I finally said, hey, I want a relationship. So I went out, got a relationship, and I was thinking I was going to help this guy, and I was like, And then because I learned, what the signs are, I was able to get rid of him in 2 months, because, some people are not upfront. Some people are extremely quiet individuals, So when they're quiet, you can mistake them for safer, But they'll still talk, do their thing, but they smile and they keep their head and keep their thoughts, And I remember when my mom met him, she was like, yeah, that's something, she called it. She saw it. And then when I got back home, I found out smiling in the face, but, sabotaging behind the back. So, and you got to be careful with people like that. They try and tear your kingdom down while you up there building. You don't want people like that in your life. So, but you got to get rid of them fast. I got rid of him fast. Bye Felicia. Like Ice Cube said on that one thing. I forgot what he said. It was in a movie, I think it was NWA, the movie, and when it was a bad part of the movie though, when I saw it, but, bye, So yeah, criticism, somebody telling you how they want to see somebody. There's a puppet master. That's a puppet master. Anytime they start telling you how they want to see you, puppet master. And you will not be satisfied. You will not feel whole if you allow yourself to get into that. Because that person's going to tear you down. And as soon as you have a good day, you are giving them your mind. You are giving them your spirit. Because you should be like, I'm going to wear this. This is what I'm wearing. Okay? And then walk out with confidence in what you decide. And nobody should try to take that from you. I don't care if you don't know how to dress. Like when I first met my first husband, didn't know how to dress. He didn't come to harm. He didn't sit up there and say, you look ugly with that on. He just said, hey babe, I want to show you something. I was like, oh really? Bam. He started putting some stuff together. And I didn't know how to dress for my body. I was really thin, so I wasn't like the girls that had the and then the big chachis and the big legs and all that stuff, So, but he was a haberdasher, so he taught me what would look good, and then I ended up liking it. And then from there, I was able to like go out and then explore and change my style. But that was a positive thing. It wasn't done like what you wearing today? And then if I want it to be comfortable, he didn't mind. You know, that's somebody that really loves you. You know, that genuine love, if it's agape love, like the Bible's love, which is hard to really find in this day and age, it's people that let you just be you, you know. So anything that's not letting you be you, it's an airstrike, you know. Some men like women who fussy and cussy, you know. God bless their hearts. I can't. I'm like, okay. But it works for them, you know, and it works for the other person. So, and it brings them together and it keeps them together. And then if they're fighting but loving each other, fighting and supporting each other, fighting and then uplifting each other, fighting and taking each other to the next level. You get what I'm saying? So every to each its own. But if it's something that's causing destruction for you personally and making you feel crappy, take a look at it, and you got to get rid of that person. I'm sorry. Or airstrike, and you can keep taking the hits, taking it until they bomb the whole area out. And by the time they get done with you, sweetheart, you know, you're going to be, you know, begging God, you know, at that point to help you out of that situation, you know, or that. So just be courageous in the beginning. Be discerning. And it doesn't matter if you are lonely or if you feel lonely. Ooh, I got to be careful with my time. It doesn't matter if you feel lonely or, you know, at all. You must be able to pick right. One thing I told, you know, a guy who was talking to me, I just said, you know, he wanted, you know, he proposed marriage. And I told him, a man who comes into my life, he has to be really special. You know, not saying that he wasn't special. I was just painting the picture. And I tell him, you know, I've been through a lot. Him and I've had discussions about my life for the past 3 years. You know, it was just a slow thing, slow process. But it wasn't based on like trying to get with each other or that type of deal. But he finally just told me, I want you to marry me. I was like, what the? And then I had to think about it. Well, he was there when I was grieving my father, and you know, but it was at place of business, you know, and you know how sometimes you keep seeing the same people. It was a family-owned establishment, so you keep seeing the same people, and then, you know, you start talking more and more, and then more and more and more and more and more and more, and then they get to know you, and then you start asking questions about them too. So I just told him, you know, I'm looking only for equal reciprocity, and I want somebody that's going to be special. I told him I'm not looking for somebody that's rich over the top. You know, and he said, you ain't got to worry about that, you know, but he's, you know, good on his own, you know, or good, you know, to where that wouldn't be an issue. Finances wouldn't be an issue ever. But we had that discussion, and you have to be able to mature enough to tell people what you want when they come to you and let them know, I don't mind trying this, but, you know, let's just take our time. You know, because you just said it today, and we haven't dated yet, you know, so, and I didn't know you were into me like that, you know, so, I think an arrangement has been made, and I'm good with that. But the truth of the matter is, you have to be able to be strong on your own. And if you are not strong, you need to figure out what barriers you need to remove out of your life, and the negative self-talk that you need to remove out of your life if you are negative self-talking. Because some people, you know, somebody has beat them down several feet with their mouth. You know, in the Bible, it does say our word is like poison. You know, we could kill people. Words can kill. You know, and I believe it could kill spirits. I mean, the spiritual aspect of yourself, you know, if somebody's telling you ugly all day long, you're fat, you're this and you're that, and just spilling out this vile, just disgusting, demonic things to cause harm to you. If they got your mind like that, like a puppet string, you're going to believe that and believe it. And you don't need to believe anything that somebody else is trying to evoke into your life. You need to be strong enough to be like, look, I know who the hell I am. I remember a guy, it's like, you don't need to tell me who I am. I remember I told a guy, he was trying to tell me who I am. And I was like, no, let me stop you there. I was like, you are so far off. You miscalculate. I was like, but let me introduce you to myself. I'm a child of God, first and foremost. Number two is I don't need somebody to tell me who I am and what I need to be. I was like, that's where you messed up. I know who I am. And it takes a lot. So I don't need somebody else coming in to tell me who I am. You get what I'm saying? You have got to remove all of these barriers of people airstriking you all the time, airstriking you, and just doing or saying things that's belittling to you, making you second guess yourself. Don't do it. Get rid of them. Because all they're doing is, I call them airstrikes, airstrikes, airstrikes. You know, they're doing it to tear you down. And it's not because of you and who you really are. It's because of them. It's only because of them. It has nothing to do with you. It's insecurity just fueling and burning. It's fear of you leaving. Fear of you going. I need this person to stay. Oh my God. I'm so terrified. Oh my God. How can I get them to stay? Well, I'm going to do this. This is my strategy. Remember, the devil got his people too. Their strategies, to try to airstrike you out of your blessings. You don't want that. Don't let nobody take anything from you. Ever. And if you grew up in a environment where they were spewing them airstrikes, you need to find a way to build yourself up, and you can do it all by yourself. One thing I learned about people when they had to go through a lot when they're younger, they're stronger than they think. It's just that they're still trapped mentally and emotionally. And that's why you got to forgive, you got to heal, you got to get that done as soon as possible. Hit it head on. So it's done. It can go away. You know what I'm saying? Or you can better manage it to where you can get at a stage where you're strong enough to say, don't tell me who I am. Who the heck do you think you are? And then it makes them back off and respect you. You get what I'm saying? They test you first with them airstrikes. But when you stand up for yourself in the very beginning and you let them know, I see you. I see you. All of that ends. They stop right away. It's like being caught, being caught. Like if you ever had kids, if you don't have kids, but if you do have kids, if you catch them doing something they're not supposed to do when they're little, extremely little, then they have that I got caught. It's the same thing. Stand up for yourself in the beginning, and they have that, oh, shit, I'm messing with the wrong one. She ain't gonna let me do that to her. And then they respect you, but you still don't want them into your life. Because why would you want somebody that comes into your life who's trying to send down airstrikes right off the top, or who's trying to infiltrate your life to start airstriking you. And you will be able to feel it too. Like every time something was wrong in my relationship, God sent the intuition up. And I didn't even have to know what was going on. I just knew something was going on. I didn't have to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. But I felt something was off and wrong. And it was terribly off. You know what I'm saying? But I had to go through that because I made the choice to be with that individual in spite of those red flags. So now I'm like, 0 red flags. Learning the lessons. I learned once, sweetheart. You ain't trying to, don't. So that's how you spot someone out. Is definitely through the criticism, even the little tiny stuff. If you ask them, oh, baby, am I looking good? Well, if that wasn't blurring, I like monotone colors. I wasn't asking you what you like. I asked you, did I look good? So when they start doing that, airstrike, beginning. That's the beginning. Watch yourself, sweetheart. But you got to stand up for yourself and know you will find someone. A lot of people are so scared, like, I'll never find anybody. You will. I swear you will. But you have to be healthy. Because if you're not healthy, a healthy individual could tell that you're not healthy. So if you're saying you want this and this, I want a man that does X, Y, Z, you got to be the woman who can do that too. You know what I'm saying? You got to be your own hero. And you can't be your own hero if you're allowing people to airstrike at you all day long to where they're tearing you up, sweetheart. They're tearing up that village. You don't want that. You want to be a healthy version of yourself. So when you see the behavior, you call it out. And then dude will back off and then respect you. But you still don't want him in your life because it's not going to be healthy. You get what I'm saying? They might respect you, but who else are they trying that with? You get what I'm saying? It's not a good circle to keep with you. So that's the way I look at it. I don't know if I said a personal story. I always try to do one. Airstriking. I think I've had airstrike. Well, I mean, I've talked about other stuff that can, if you look at my other videos in forgiveness and then breaking through barriers when we're talking about crushing fear, and before that, I did speak about calculated airstrikes, seeing them. So I think today I will, well, you know what? I could do the Iraq story that I went through. Talked about the plane. Okay, I'm just thinking of what I was thinking, because I didn't watch the other videos. I watch them when I'm editing, and then I kind of let it go. Okay, in Iraq, okay, so there was a time they told us not to take our firearms into the showers, because obviously the showers, they get steam, you know, and obviously it's a metal weapon, so obviously it could tear up the weapon, so we could no longer take them in. But I used to get up extremely early to go to the gym, so I think it was like 3 or 3:40, so I always take my showers early in the morning, you know, so eventually, I would ask, could I have somebody take me to the gym, you know, on a regular basis? Because there was me and he's a chief warrant officer. I believe he was a chief warrant officer 2. I'm so bad with remembering. This was in 06, you know, but so we would go to the gym because he was a gym junkie like me, where we get up early birds. So normally I would meet him out there, but this time I got up just too early. So I was like, oh, let me rush and get my shower in real quick, you know, because, you know, also you lose the hot water. So I was like, yes, first, you know. So I get up there, I took my shower. I didn't have my weapon, but I still have my combat knife. So I'm in the shower, and just to give you a picture of what it looks like, you have the water buffaloes, they're high, and then you have stairs that lead up to the water tank. So it's like literally, if you open the door, it's, you know, it's like this. You know, if somebody throws the door out, then it's probably up to your neck, that type of deal. So, so you have to walk up the stairs. So anyway, I'm taking my shower in the 3rd stall, and all I hear was so obviously it didn't get my attention the first time. So I kept going, you know, but it got my ear, you know. Then I hear tat, 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 tat. Then I'm like, what the? And I look around the corner, and it's a guy. And then he shut the door, and he went tat, 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 tat. I mean, you know, so what he was doing is there's more than one water tank, water buffalo for us to shower in. You know, it's a row of bathrooms mixed with the shower stalls. So anyway, he was checking to see if somebody was up there. Boo-boo the foo. You know, I'm up there taking a shower. So anyway, when I heard him do the tat, tat, tat to get back to that bathroom, man, I dropped my bag. I pulled out my combat knife. By the time he came back to that shower, I had my shirt on, my shorts, my shoes only, not the socks and all that stuff. And then I had my knife, you know, out and ready. So, you know, he stepped up to come into the bathroom, and he didn't say one word. He just had like it's a military cap on, and then he had the brown t-shirt, and then the military gym shorts on, and then black, white, and gray shoes. I don't know what kind of shoes, but I remember, and I remember his face, and I'll always remember his face. So anyway, he comes up, and he didn't say anything, and then he tried to advance forward, and then I got into a fighting stance for knives, and I told him stop, because I didn't know if he was Iraqi or if he spoke English under any circumstances, and that wasn't my job. So, but it's the universal understanding of stop. So anyway, he didn't stop, so I took the blade and then pointed it straight towards him, and I held it extremely tight. And so he advanced forward, and then I just told him, look, if you come closer, I told him, we both die. You know, and then that dude, whatever I said, he ran off. So I reported it. I went to Chow, and then I reported it to CID, because at CID, they're there with us, you know, at the tables. So, but they said the same guy had been doing that, but the only reason why they didn't want to put out a postal alert is because it won't give them an opportunity to catch him. You know, so I wasn't the only one that reported somebody doing that behavior. So, so I told him, well, you should have at least told people, because, you know, it could change circumstances. If that could have worked out a little different, you know, but because I've been through stuff, I get mad. I don't get scared. Let's get ready, you know? So it's like, you know, and that's what it gets you into. Like, the objective is, I'm not being harmed. You know, I got my shit, you know, and I will come at you too, because I was extremely angry in that moment that somebody's trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, so that's the story that I could give you on an airstrike. So that's an airstrike that didn't work, you know, but it's just still, you know, in life, when you have to deal with stuff, you're like, gosh, you know, but God is there, and he's covering you when these incidents happen, you know. So I'm thankful, you know, and I'm thankful, you know, for the reporting. And then the last thing I could tell you, a blessing. I'll end with a blessing, you know. That's a blessing too from God, but I'll end with the last blessing of Iraq. So anyway, I was standing at my door, you know. I had my door open, you know. We had our shoes, you know. Sometimes we leave them open, sometimes they are closed or whatever when we're off work. So anyway, I'm just chilling, standing up, you know. I like doing salsa dancing in my room and stuff. So I had my, you know, iPod back in the day. So in my, the very first Mac notebook. So I had the very first one that came out. So anyway, you could, you know, play on it and Final Cut Pro and all that stuff. And so anyway, you know, I would just practice, you know, dancing and stuff, because we had dance classes out in Iraq. So anyway, I got tired, and then I stood by my door. Now, when I was at my door of my room, I didn't have my Kevlar on. I didn't have body armor, because normally you wouldn't, you know. And then my gun and stuff was like together. It was like a little, you know, in the corner by the door, just in case something happened. So anyway, something told me, go pee, you know, go pee. And I was like, shoot, I gotta pee. So I ran, you know, I ran to our buffaloes, which are not too far from our rooms. And then I used the restroom. Well, when I come back, my room was messed up. So I'm looking around the room, because we have keys so we could lock our doors, you know. So I locked the door, and I went to the bathroom and ran back. By the time I ran back, there was a bullet that had tore up my room. So I'm in there looking like, what happened, you know? And then finally I found like an AK-47 round, or I think it's like a 5.56 or something, like similar to our M16 rounds. And I found a bullet, you know, on the ground, not a full bullet, but like the casing. So anyway, I was like, fuck. So obviously I had to report that to CID, but it was just like, I was like, thank you, God. Because the point of entry was where I was standing. I was literally standing. I was like, and I was calculating, hold up. I was just standing there, and then if that thing would have came down, it would have went straight through my chest. I didn't have my flight vest on, you know, blah, blah. So I'm just thanking God at this moment. Just, God had my heart out there. I'm telling you. He had my heart, you know, just, he was watching over me. And I was battling other stuff, you know. You got to deal with sexism, the good old boy system of, you know, racism, you know, stuff like that. So that's, you know, inevitable. But I just think as long as you got God on your side, God gives you the right way to act. He keeps peace and stillness inside of you so that you don't go out. Because what's the objective of people like that? They want you to get crazy, out of control, so then they can make it seem like it's all your fault. It's like having narcissistic people, you know, like, you know, oh, I know I don't like people, you know, so what I'm going to do is, you know, and then they get together in their little system and their little pod, and then they start trying to do their little airstrikes. And then all I did was like, just salute them when I went by, salute them, because I clearly knew it was some issues there. And then I just treated them like I treat everybody. One thing I've learned, treat your enemies just as nice as you treat your friends, honey, and people that you love the most. The reason why is because love conquers all, and it really did. It dismantles hate. At first people hate you more because they're like, I'm trying to destroy this girl. Like, she's just so nice, I fucking hate her, And then, but God is there, and he's like, I got her covered. So no matter what you do, she's covered. So keep doing what you're doing. And then they ended up getting themselves in trouble, because that's how God works. You keep being you and let them be them, and then God handles the rest. That's all you could do. But God has got me out of so many different situations that were not even brought on by me. It was just more about, people who come into Airstrike, and then their intentions, and then they're like, oh, there's a victim. Ooh. There's that little demon coming in, that devil, that demon attachment that's on that person's back that's telling them to go in there and do these crazy things. And then, but when you got God, man, you got to keep him in you, keep him in you, and he will work out all your circumstances. You don't have to lift a finger. You just keep, hey, hi, how are you doing? And then moving through life. That's it. That's the beginning, middle, and end. I'm ending there. So God bless you. I hope I inspired you. My sister-in-law was like, you smile so much in your videos, But I told her, I want to keep it light, because I'm talking about real stuff that's happening in my life. And I'm trying to make it entertaining. And then also because I understand some people are really hurting over similar issues. So that's my goal, is to just keep it light, but get it out, get the message out. Let you know I have gone through stuff to be able to deliver this message to you, and I'm hoping this will inspire you, create some type of change in your life, push you, to go beyond what you need, and I'm just hoping it's going to uplift you, or get you out of a mental prison, or get you out of a heart space prison, or a spiritual prison, to where you can understand there's help, That's all. Just remember all the signs. I was inspired to do this. I was at the dog park, and then all of a sudden this thing came in, the idea came up, and then I rushed home, and I was like, Lord, don't let me forget this. Don't let me forget this, and then I came in here, and then I just put the lights on and just started talking. And then, it just flowed, because when I try to talk on camera, then I make so many mistakes, just, going this and this. But if I come in and I don't prepare, I do better unprepared than I do when I'm trying to prepare, or when I'm trying to think about the next thing I need to say, versus just letting it flow. It works better when I let it flow. So I hope it helped you.